Season 3, we're live with our winners bracket finals match here in Group B, and still with us, Donald Duck, apparently otherwise known as Pycat, and Andy, and or Draskell, however you want to call him, both work. So, EG versus Vega, that's going to be winners bracket finals. Both teams, we've seen them win. I know both of you will favor EG because EG Bulba is playing.
I feel like I just got scolded when you said that.
What?
You're both going to favor EG.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like we should have a more split opinion on the panel because otherwise I can't have you debate because you're all going to say, yeah, EG Bulba is
but
great.
You're going to go with Vega, aren't you?
Draft,
yeah, but we're not going to have the draft for a little while.
Yeah, it's a couple of minutes.
Aren't you going to go with Vega anyways? So it's going to be like a 2-1 split.
Yeah, but I'm not an
that's
analyst.
Pretty much as big a split you can get with two people.
If I make arguments for Vega to do well, who's going to believe them, right?
I mean,
That's
you have been right about a lot of stuff in the past. It's
but people still won't take my word for it. They will still need to hear one of your opinions backing me up. And that's why, Andy, you're now favoring Vega.
I've been drafted.
You've been drafted.
Okay, I'm on the Vega
team.
train. Why not? Let's do it.
Yes.
I'm in.
So why is Vega going to do well? Wait a second. Why is EG going to do well? You say one thing. You can say one thing. It's got to be positive for the team.
We're literally debating.
But like, only positive things. You can't bring the other team down.
Yeah. Okay, so Vega are a team who in the past have shown constant aggression all the time. They love to pressure. You know, sometimes they always pick. Well, when they played with Pasha, they always pick safe lane course who could fight. But I think that still with FN, it's more of the same. You know what I mean? Like he's adapted fairly well, I think, to the playstyle that they have. So it's going to be nonstop aggression. They're going to fight a lot. And I think that with a newer team, even if you're like a little bit familiar with the players, it might be harder to deal with that than what Adfinim did, which is kind of just like more passive play. Maybe they got trapped in their own mind. But yeah, I think Vega are going to bring the heat.
Okay.
I think you have a point. Like I think with the addition of FN, they have that guy. He's really good. He's on the up and up. But EG Bulba.
How do I follow that up?
No.
We lost, dude.
I have the feeling that whatever you say, he's going to say that. You've got a good point, but
he's going to say that.
Let's try another one, though.
Okay, so I think that he's just going to say EG Bulba, man. Like, it's hard to motivate me to want to argue against him when all he has to say is, but EG Bulba, and I'm just like back at square one. Help me, Shiver. Help me help you.
Okay, so I really personally like Vega because they have a big versatility in their heroes, but mostly I'm rooting for the Earth Spirit, or Earth Shaker to come out, rather.
Okay.
So I'm hoping for that one. Don't think it will happen, but let's just keep that on the back burner that it might, like if it's going to be a team picking it up, Vega is a team to do it because they have got Mag and he does play Earthshaker offlane quite a bit.
He wasn't even listening. He's literally just saying in his head EG Bulba over and over again, and he's just like off in his own world.
Yeah.
Why do we even bring you? We can't. You can't spectate any more EG games. You have to like bring somebody else in.
So people have been calling no one the Sumail of CAS.
He's
Sumail.
extremely good. Yes.
Extremely good, young, talented CAS prodigy. Now his growth, it started out going really well, and he seems to have maybe. Do you feel like he's reached his peak? Is my question. I mean, nobody has ever reached his peak in Dota.
I don't think so. I think it's one of those things where, you know, some metas are going to be better for him than others, and I think that he's the type of guy who always wants to play around the team. I think he's more like, sort of like an S4, but instead of taking more of a commanding role, he's just always there and he wants to be active and he wants to make sure that he's creating space for FN. So I think in a lot of ways too, if you think about individual skill, like we're not going to see a pure outlane, I think, this time around like we did in the last match that EG played. Whereas Amarana was beating a Wind Ranger and Pycat and I looked at each other and were like, what the hell's happening? Why is he winning this lane? I don't think no one's going to be that type of player who loses a 1v1 that he shouldn't lose. And I also think there's a lot of weight on that kind of thing when you know that you want to be fighting. So winning your lanes is even more important if you want to play aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. No, I also feel like that is going to play a big factor, actually. I think no one is... He's a very solid player. Like, he's maybe somewhere in between, like, the Sumail S4 type. You know, he is a bit more farm heavy than S4, and maybe a bit less than Sumail, I would say. But, you know, somewhere in between. But he's a very talented player.
He's like a G.
Yeah, he's kind of similar to G. G is though very farm heavy, I feel like. Even more so maybe than Sumail and less... playmaking.
But I always feel like he always manages to get farm and is active at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I think G, the team just plays so much around him, but no one, they play a bit around him, but he also does make stuff happen on his own.
Yeah, true.
We have a game where there is no Lich first phase banned.
It's
and
picked,
we have
boys.
a Lich.
Wait, was it EG?
Vega Squadron picked
EG
up
gave it away.
Lich.
They gave it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the
I
draft
was right.
of the Winners Bracket Finals. Let's find out if Lich is going to be doing it. I mean, if you're going to talk about Vega having an edge over EG, maybe Lich is the one. You said it wasn't. There was a short break after the segment before the previous game where they said, yeah, it's definitely, like, it's worthy of the first phase ban. You both agreed.
Yeah, after I reread the actual range creep now and realized like how much of a difference it is, because I think it's like 90 experience and 50 gold or something like that, somewhere around that. It's a huge deny. And their answer is just
how do you counter the deny
immediate
of a
enigma.
range creep?
Yeah, you get
More
a hero that
denies.
not only denies, but also pushes, which is the weakness of the hero that you first picked.
And farms.
But
And
it's
farms,
first
yeah.
phase Enigma? Like, is that like the answer?
I feel like it's a good answer.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
here's the thing, like Lich can't directly pressure the Enigma.
Yeah.
He can only win his lane. So rather than going for a direct lane confrontation, e.g. just take the greedy route, which says, okay, you're going to take away gold from our one hero, but we're going to get more gold out of our Enigma than you possibly can from like any other jungler, because Enigma is like the fastest jungler still. And then it's a Doom on top of that. So it's just greed and more greed. So now Vega are all of a sudden in a situation where EG have already made them decide if they want to go all in, and they're taking second pick Puck. So I'm guessing that they're going to want to play hyper aggressive.
Lich is a pretty good hero against Enigma, though.
Yeah, sure, you
And
have the
later
chain
on in the
frost
game.
against the black hole.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's good for sure. But then another thing is also when you have you can also see the bounty hunter is actually banned out by Vega. But when you pick up this Lich, it's gonna be kind of hard for you to actually invade the jungle of EG, because that Lich is. I mean, you kind of don't want to have a roaming hero together with that Lich. I think then you rely too much on your cores to be just totally okay on their own in the
Yeah,
lanes.
he needs
Which
self-sustain.
Puck
potentially is okay, but
is doing fine by himself, though. He doesn't necessarily need the support, so that's
That's
one
true,
already.
but
Yeah.
the thing is, you're already under the gun. I think if you're Vega, like you feel we need to pick either some heroes that have a comparable level of greed, which I don't think is the right play, because you've already picked Puck, and Lich is never really going to transition super well into late game scenarios. And even if you can cancel the black hole, it's not really the black hole that's the problem is Lich. It's more okay, there's a million conversions, my Chain Frost doesn't really do anything, and I can't deep push. That's the problem.
yeah, and also the mech probably coming out relatively
Yeah.
early.
Would you say, which hero would you say would fit then with the second support for Vega? Which type of support? I mean, Vengeance Full
Venge or
Spirit is
Rubik, I think.
still in the pool,
I
and
think
both are
Rubik
good
is-
against Enigma as well.
Rubik is a bit nicer, because then it's two really good spells that you could potentially steal. Doom is really tough. You can maybe get it, but it's more that having the black hole there means the Doom kind of wants to doom the Rubik,
Yeah.
which in a lot of ways could be seen as a good thing for Vega, because if you doom a support, then your cores are free to do whatever they want. But if you only have one or two good Doom targets, that's the best situation for a Doom player, because then you can shut down a ton of net worth on one hero, and there's very little threat from other people. Look at what Illidan played. His Armlet Lifestealer got doomed, literally walked around in circles because he was the only person on his team with farm.
Yeah.
You don't want to put yourself in that situation against a Doom. So it could be a Rubik. I think that would be nice.
Okay, so looking towards Evil Geniuses, they still need a support as well. Probably going to have Doom on the offlane. What kind of support are we looking to seeing from them?
It could be something actually a bit more on the greedy side, because Lich doesn't directly pressure lane. He only just denies farm. So
Yeah.
if you really want to, you can just pick something that like spams pulls and just gets a lot of farm, goes towards the mid game maybe. But that's a lot of heroes. You could even go like Shadow Shaman, for example. I actually think you could pick it against a Lich opening, because it's not necessarily greedy to pick the Lich, but the Lich has very limited possibilities in what he can do.
I'm thinking Witch Doctor, perhaps? Great with
Witch
the black
Doctor's
hole
pretty
as
good
well?
too. It's not too bad. But I actually think that with what Vega have, the greedier that Evil Geniuses can pick, almost the better, because it's
Okay.
just like you have to win by a certain point, or we are just going to run you over.
Yeah, we've seen Evil Geniuses do that before. I mean, they don't give a hoot about what happens in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
if they give a
just
few
look at the
kills, it's
last
fine.
game. They're like,
Yeah.
whatever, we're 9 kills
Exactly.
behind, doesn't matter, we're still farming everyone.
And then the moment that they have their core items ready, they push and
Yeah.
basically almost end the game with one sweep.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky right now.
So you need, for Vega, you need heroes that time very well around that point as well, which around the 10-minute mark, or 15-minute mark, I'd say. Paika, what heroes would you look towards seeing for Vega in that regard?
It's actually tough to say.
I think
They want to be able to
Klinks,
push. Klinks, yeah, I like that
Yeah.
actually. Klinks is probably a good. I was thinking about CK potentially, but then they have the Enigma already. So the Midnight Pulse and Black Hole are quite efficient against CK, but it can be good because if you actually use the Black Hole, then CK kind of gets free reign, and he is also one of those heroes that can push a bit. But I like the Klinks pickup. I did like the Drow Ranger ban. That's one of the heroes that Vega do like running a lot.
Yeah.
It's also a go-to against Enigma.
Yeah, I mean, Gyro could be okay, but then they need to finish up with some more. I feel like push power. But that could be an option.
Well, first we're going to have a Samil Wind Ranger. Picked up. What would you like to see on no one to match up with that? Puck is already there.
Yeah.
What am I saying?
Yeah. It's not a bad matchup for either hero, I feel. Maybe
No, nobody should lose the
If
lane.
the creeps are denied, though.
Yeah, if the creeps are denied, it's going to be really hard for the Wind
I like the
Rangers.
Lone Druid, actually. Yeah, it's really nice. It's good against both the Doom and the Enigma. I mean, you don't really want to Doom a Lone Druid. You also, you know, Black Hole is not the most efficient thing against the Lone Druid. Sure, you have Midnight Pulse and eventually maybe Black Hole later on in the game, but it's one of those carry heroes that just, you don't really care about those spells that much.
And you don't really want to doom him either.
Yeah.
Like dooming Lone Druid feels very lackluster most of the time.
If you also picked to maybe deny it to Bulba. EG Bulba and Lone Druid.
Doesn't he? Actually, they could still play more of a greedy doom and not put it off lane, I guess.
Yeah, but they do have the Enigma, though. So would they jungle Enigma
AUI
and
Lone
Doom?
Druid, also a thing.
No, but that's what I mean. I think Boba would play doom.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I'm pretty
okay.
sure it's going to be a Boba Doom. And Bane, yeah, okay. That's one of those heroes that EG, they used to run that a lot.
So now they're basically saying whatever support you pick, Bane is going to be able to deal with pretty much anything.
Yeah.
So it's just a really nice flexible pick.
I'm
Helps
curious,
secure the lanes.
are they going to pick the bottom again, actually? It's not out of the question, I feel like.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, I guess you get the free farm safe lane then if you pick
Yeah,
Marana.
he
You
could
still put
also,
Wind
I don't know,
Rangers
he could arrow creeps in the jungle if he has to,
Yeah.
or just, they can kind of kill the Lone Druid. Another hero I could see them pick up is actually that Klinks. It's also one of those EG heroes. Then again, the Bane Klinks synergy is not the greatest.
in. Yeah, definitely not. But I think that EG's lineup is okay.
There's the
They will go
Klinks.
for the
Okay,
Klinks.
Yeah.
that's
They're
nice.
just going to go both.
Good call.
So
good
it is
call.
greed is the answer from Vega.
It seems so.
It's all right.
It's like, it's not so much greed though, it's kind of, it's like push. It's like they have the Doom, I mean the Lone Druid and the Klinks, so they have kind of farm heavy cores, but
I only say it's greed because they have very little to no deep push at all.
Yeah.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, the Rubik ban.
If
okay.
Puck has a rough mid lane, if Puck actually hard loses his mid lane,
I don't see how he can lose his
but
lane.
just in case, you know, with rotations, you never know. Does that mean that Vega basically don't have a chance against the push that will come from Evil Geniuses around the 15-20
Nah.
minute mark?
they can counter the push with their own push, I feel like. Because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can just push so fast with Bone and Lone Druid that, I mean, when you have these pushing lineups, you gotta think who pushes the fastest.
Oh.
Okay, I like that. They ban out Slardar
is
as
this
well
because
already.
they couldn't get their hands on a bounty hunter? Is this the answer?
I guess so. I am curious if they had this in mind the entire time, actually.
I mean,
they
they
did
ban out
give-
Bounty Hunter, they
Wow.
ban out Slardar.
I mean, if you're impeding Enigma's farm that much and they
Yeah.
can't commit another hero to you because it would be wasteful, then it could actually work.
I'm sure there's a copy pasta about this from one of the players of EG.
Probably.
Somewhere.
I'm sure it exists.
I'm sure it
Probably,
has
it might-
something to do with PPD and AY.
All right, and a tiny.
Tiny. Okay. Tell me about these drafts. Which game plan do you like better?
I gotta go with EG.
You're not
sorry,
gonna go for
I can't.
the
I
Ricky?
can't go with EG. I'm gonna go for Vega.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good.
I think the Ricky is very creative. I'm not entirely sure how well it's going to work, but I do think that he will be able to impede either the Enigma's farm or at the very least he can be a nuisance, and that's what Vega need. They need like an early game distraction, help the Klinks get 6, and then start roaming around, maybe look for kills. Klinks is great against Doom in a lot of games as well, so I think that they have some answers, but they are going to have to execute for sure.
What do you say, Pycat? Yeah, EG Bulba?
Everyone just said it in their head. It should.
Yeah,
someone should ask
I
the
kind
question,
of
so
thought
it's
it
like,
as well.
It's fine.
We're going to find out, though. It is time for our Winners Bracket Finals of Group B for WePlay Season 3. Evil Geniuses taking on Vega with Ayesee and Ryuu.
Welcome back, guys. I am Ayesee, joined by Ryuu, and we get to cast a Ricky. That's fun.
That will be
It's been a
amazing
long
watch.
day, and we all know there have been some ups and downs. Regardless of anything else, we now get to watch EG play against the Ricky and the Lich, as a matter of fact. So we're going to jump right on into the game as the action is already underway. It looks like neither team in particular that interested in crossing the river and mixing it up early on, but let's come back around to this Ricky pick by Vega. So it seemed like on the panel, they're thinking, okay, we can't mess with the Enigma any other way. We want to have something to do to mess with him. Do you think that's the play here? Do you think that that's going to be what they're going to be doing? And if it is, do you think it's going to be effective at all?
I think it's very effective for kind of shutting down the Enigma. Let's look at the mid lane. Wind Ranger can't get ganked too much. Could poke and prod to help out at least for that. But a little bit of the Blink Strike damage got him buffed. Like 60 additional damage early on is very good. And they're not going to get this mid rune here for AUI. And I'm having a hard time figuring out where AUI is going to farm very effectively. Because Lich, I think, is just going to, you know, camp his lane and make sure AUI gets shut down. So it's going to have to be on Sumail as well as Fear to maybe carry this mid game.
UI heading up. We'll go ahead and run through everyone as it looks like relatively quiet to get things started. The captain himself, the original evil genius, it'll be PPD. Playing on Bane, he's out in the off lane for the moment. Will be Sumail taking the Wind Ranger into mid. The Doom going to be handled by Bulba, matching up against the Lone Druid here in bottom. AUI making his way on up to the top lane as well. And Fear helping out here in mid, just continuing to deny and continuing to keep it as a pretty even exchange with the Lich helping out Vega's No One in mid. Speaking about what we start there, will be the Puck played by No One. As mentioned, that Lich helping him out, that'll be Sioma. The Ricky, the surprise pick played by Solo. We'll have to keep a real close eye. Yep, we're going to see the immediate Sentry Ward go down, just trying to block out the camp. We'll keep an eye on him all throughout the early game. It's going to be FN trying to do what he can on this Clinks. He's up against a rather tough situation with the Bane. And the Tiny has to be real careful he doesn't get blown up. And then again, another Lone Druid out in the off lane for the Dire side this time. That'll be played by Vega's Mag.
So I think the rotations for AUI just immediately going to the top lane was really nice. And now, as I was talking about, Sioma is going to be rotating up here. Can they burst down FN here? And needs to be a little bit careful. Doesn't have a Mango to work with for AUI. That's the problem. I think if they did have the Mango, could potentially have that kill with the burst, but not having enough mana.
AUI taking a bit of harass damage. We did see the Lich, as you mentioned, pop up there. Solo still is just level 1. He's continuing to roam around. Looks like he wants to try to take this 2-minute rune up in the top position, and we'll see what it's going to be. Will be an illusion. He'll grab it immediately. Down at bottom, the matchup between the Doom and the Lone Druid. What are we thinking here? As of right now, it looks like it's basically a break-even.
Yeah, and he also got a really good creep early on here for the Ice Armor. It's really nice to have against the Lone Druid's Bear. I mean, it counters them effectively. It slows down the attack speed, and that's the problem with Doom early on. He has 11 armor right now. I'm like, what the? That's obviously with the tower protection, but that's only 1 armor. But still, right. It's like, what the? You normally never see this. That's how you punish the Doom early on, is because he has so little armor.
No one actually made it over to grab the bottom bounty rune. Sumail happy to go ahead and grab that while he can. Solo now a part of the mix up here at top. PPD going to give him an old brain sap to taste on a little bit. A lot of damage being done though. And as complicated as this top lane's becoming, do you think EG's maybe going to try to change something up? There's going to be an avalanche just to try to force them back and do a little damage. But do you think this is going to work out? Or do you think maybe they got to try to change something here?
This hurts because now Enigma has free farm, so this is going to help out Fear a lot. And I think shutting down AUI as best they can is probably for the best. They just need to find some ways to get kills. And you also want FN to be your mid-game tempo controller as well, along with Puck. So making sure he has a really nice time in this off lane or safe lane here for FN, it's going to be very key for them. But Solo's doing a really nice job. He's going in jungle, scouting on Enigma, had that Sentry Ward, going top, now mid again. Putting a lot of pressure everywhere. I'm very surprised and very pleased at this Bounty Hunter room.
Not Bounty Hunter, Ricky, buddy.
I mean, Rick,
no, I don't blame you. It's been a long, long time since I mentioned Ricky in anything but a joke. When I was casting Dota up at top. EG gonna toss PPD. There's gonna be the dust. They knew he was low. Brain sap's not enough. He makes it into the fog of the trees. And Sioma there with the Frost Blast to slow them down. So good effort that time, but just not enough to get it done.
Nice play.
Oh, Fear! Oh, Solo! He's going to end up dying as he tried to dive Fear under the tier 2 in mid. And Fear gets the first blood, but he does it with his back turned and running for the base. So a little bit of an overextension. And that's such a shame because, as you said, Solo was doing a pretty damn good job. He still is only about a quarter of a level behind PPD, and PPD's been in lane the entire game so far.
No, that's very unfortunate. You just want to get that kill, especially on Enigma right there, first blood. And if he could have had that, he could have had maybe the wind laces we talk about a lot with these rotating supports that helps out tremendously for this Ricky when you're rotating around. So that could have been a very big deal to have that. I think he might have been looking for a courier too, but not having the same effect as, you know, the Janata slow when you have a bounty hunter. And so, well, no one. He did pick up a haste rune here. We haven't had much time to talk about the mid lane matchup, and Smel's just done a really nice job. He's only losing by like 6, and that's just because of the Lich kind of like early on.
Yep.
And they're trading.
Oh, he's very
Smell.
low. This is a big overextension. Is Solo going to be able? Nope. Everything's on cooldown. Blink Strike was used. And Bulls! No one coming very close to dropping as Sumail playing it right up to the edge and getting them a taste of their own medicine.
If he could have got that body block off, oh man, that was a really big kill for no one. But unfortunately, didn't get it. And at least, like Fear, normally at this stage of the game, he would be almost like 6, maybe even 6.5 at a really good start. Now he's only like level 5, so slowing him down, and even the mechanism progression is very good, slowing that down. So still doing a good job for Solo, going around, finding him.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on Solo for the most part right now, and he just continues to be so disruptive. But is it going to be enough? I mean, like you said, the mid lane is not nearly the win I think they would have liked it to have been. 23 to 33. I mean, that's great. The Lich himself is level 5, but it's beginning to feel predicated on the idea that when Lich hits 6 and maybe wants another core out, in mid, looks like Wind Ranger managing to find a kill. I missed that completely, so
Yeah,
I guess I was
dust.
down to the room.
It was a dust coming out from Fear. They scouted him out, and then uses a nice setup there coming in for Fear. So that's what they're going to need to have. We saw PPD carrying dust early on to help for the top lane. Now Fear's also carrying one, so counter to the Ricky, it's in play.
Well, we're at 6.5 minutes in, and EG's picked up a couple of kills. How do you feel about the way things are going so far? Do you think, hang on, Coil, and the damage from Ricky's there to help. PPD throws out the Nightmare, not going to be enough.
Oh, just bricked it.
Wind Run. Yep, I was going to say Orb should have been off cooldown, and it was. So good return kill that time, and on the hero they really needed it on.
Like half, like even I think 0.2 even, that's how long until that coil was not going to be there and he could have just ran out with the Wind Run. Man, PPD is just like everywhere sometimes. It's like always in the right spot and almost there again. And well, they found out Solo just placed a sentry ward. Dust.
They're going to try to chase him. Yeah, they got the Malefice on him. Trying to use the Cloud to buy some time. Peter's right there with them. And Brain Sap, Fear should be
They have
able.
another dust, but oh, he's blocking. Fear blocked PPD. Oh, he wasted dust too. Meanwhile, top lane, a lot of harassment on AUI. That slow is no joke.
And they're close. One auto attack.
Syoma.
Oh, stutter stepped and just couldn't commit himself to it and cost themselves a big kill that time.
That is a big kill, especially on your Tiny, slowing down his progression. And well, I'm going to be very curious to see what AUI wants to go for. He doesn't have anything to really speak of. He only has 17 CS. He's kind of like the off laner this game, so we're going to have to see if Boba can step up to the the big boys here and help carry EG with his Doom, because I mean we haven't even touched on this bottom lane at all for like 8 minutes. It's just been constant CS, like 47 here for the Lone Druid and 39 for Boba. That's pretty good in all things considered when you're going against a Lone Druid, so really impressed for Boba CS where it's at right now.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of overall efficiency, Vega's winning, man. You take a look, they're trailing in kills, yet they're winning in golden experience. So Vega, I think, has got to be fairly happy. The Lich certainly is a big part of that. And of course, excellent play on the Ricky as much as he can. I mean, yeah, he fed the one kill and got caught out another time. But for the most part, he's played well and he's done his job. What's the transition
bottom
like,
lane
though, for Vega? Bottom, we're going to have engagement. There's going to be Mag. Using the Savage Roar, and there's going to be a Doom, but that's a little aggressive, I think. A little hopeful, if nothing else, from Boba.
That Scorched Earth just screwed up everything they wanted to do, because it immediately woke him up from sleep, and then AUI was trying to get in range so he could combo, and it was a nice Savage Roar to help out, but they just jumped the gun there a little bit from Boba.
Very near kill in mid there, too. And Sumail able to make it back to safety, so well played that time around, but once again, back to the question. What's going to be the transition phase here if you're Vega? Like, you've got Clinks, you can begin to try to roam him around to get things done once his item progression is moving along. The Druid's just going to want to farm. Or do you play tower defense from the Ricky can maybe hook up and get some work done and disrupt EG? Because if that's the case, I worry a little. Because EG's going to be happy to go fight with with the Doom and with the Black Hole here not too long from now, as the mech's very close, only about 600 gold.
Yeah, I think EG, once they have that mechanism online, they're going to be stronger for a little bit of portion of this game. And with trying to figure out what Bulba is going to go for, probably the drums here to help out so they have the extra movement speed to, get on top of Vega. But I think they will be very strong, in the next, 5 minutes. But Vega, their pick-off potential around the map is very scary. I mean, no one, I think, yeah, he's got his blink already. This is
Excellent
absurd.
timing.
10 minutes in. I guess it's kind of good in standard right now. He only went for the magic one. Normally, if you go treads, then it's kind of delayed a little bit longer. But PPD, they got eyes on him.
And no mana on the puck. Got just enough. Never mind. Didn't think he had enough mana for the coil, and he did. Peter drops very quickly. And don't know that that's the kill they wanted for their two-man smoke, but they'll certainly be happy to take it. Looks like now they're going to focus his tier 1 bomb.
They need to be careful not to trade too much. A trading tower for tower is fine, but you don't want EG to take your tier 2 top. They have a lot of push potential coming in with Enigma. It's male though. They're setting up for this. It's really nice to watch this Dream Coil with the silence and
A little late. FN's holding serve. Now he's going to go ahead and go for it, and they're going to get him easily.
baited.
Yep. I mean, Vega's playing this really, really well. They're really disrupting EG. I'm just once we start seeing 5-man Dota become a thing is where I worry. Is how are they really going to put this Ricky to use? He's short of level 6. How are they, other than the great initiation, which no one's showing, he's playing an excellent puck this game. If EG can find a way to nightmare even the Clinks or something like that, I feel like they're really going to fall off in these team fights quickly, especially if AUI is given any room to breathe and catch up.
Yeah, he's going to be the initiator of this game, so he's saving up for Blink Dagger, so he's going to be trying to do what no one's doing and trying to going around, blow up people, just one-shotting them with the Avalanche Toss combo. And we haven't got to see the combo as effective right now for Vega. You saw it, right? The Dream Coil on top of Silence, plus the extra Silence slow coming in from Ricky. I want to see if this works out, man, because if that works out, this team fight could be very scary for Vega, but the sustain is there from EG. They have a lot of turnaround potential with the sleep, but right now, for me, the problem is EG PPD. You're level 4 still. I don't know who they gave the tomb to.
I didn't catch it either.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they gave it to him, I feel even worse, right?
He's got 650 net worth right now. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
He, at this point, his net worth has almost gone down since the beginning of the game. And, yeah, I mean, this is a classic, 6-position PPD. How essential is level 6? I mean, yes, it's nice to have, but
top lane, AUI, already has no mana, FN.
Oh.
Doesn't have TP either. This is a dead Tiny, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. Waning Rift is there, and AUI losing his progress towards his blink a bit.
And now they're back mid lane, ready to go again. Another haste rune for no one. Is he going to be the god of runes this game?
I mean, you have to give Vega so much credit. The draft, the concept behind the draft seemed to be from EG. Just draft as greedy as possible, and we'll find a way to work it out even if we give up some kills. They've only given up two kills more than their opponents, which I would say is not that bad of a situation to be in. But when you look at net worth, it's the 3 cores from Vega that are all 3 on top of the net worth. So we're not seeing the greedy approach work out nearly as well.
Yeah, they're doing a scan right now. Not going to find anybody trying to scout out there, but no one. Once again, playing very aggressive in the mid lane, but they don't have anything to catch them. The only thing they really need, they either need to have the Fiend's Grip or maybe a Blink. Yeah, the Blink combo coming in from Tiny. So it's not going to be the easiest to catch Puck right now. And, well, they have another smoke for their side. Popped for FN. Needs to be careful.
No blinks. No way to catch him. So wasted smoke there, as Vega's going to be very capable of resetting. And they got to be careful how they split up here. Fear and company going to walk right by. Solo's got eyes on him now. And now they see Bulba and PPD. Doesn't look like they're going to move en masse to try to do anything about it, though. Vega's got to feel pretty good about their position, man. I mean, hell, I would say so. 5,000 gold, 7,500 experience. So on efficiency and just 2 extra kills, they have really built a hell of a lead in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, and they scanned again now for EG side. They did find Mags farming there, so they know that he's there. So now they're pushing, and they need to be a little bit careful, right? So they know they weren't really smoke ganking for Vega side. Now they're going to be going for this tower. But now they don't have the scan to work with, and now they just need to be a little bit more careful. And as we talked about, PPD still doesn't have his level 6.
Yep.
And my question for you, AC, is like, when are we going to see a black hole? And are we going to see one?
Well, I actually, that's me turning it back to you, Mr. 6K Plus or whatever the hell your MMR is.
2K.
We haven't seen EG really bring it all together yet. We haven't seen them up, and that could change. I was going to say, is that good play out of Vega, the fact that they're just carving EG up and not letting them feel comfortable that's causing that? Or is that EG just playing passively for one reason or another?
Solo's just having constant tabs of where they're rotating around the map, and Fear kind of prioritized taking that top tower instead of maybe going for a black hole on mid lane. Like, if you... Normally when you get level 6, sometimes you can go for that immediate black hole play on the mid lane.
Oh, hang on, two-man coil silence is there, and Ricky doing what work he can. The Lich let loose with the ulti, bouncing between a lot of creeps, but they're going to lose Fear before he can do much of anything. Now FN shows himself and is just laying into PPD, and they're going to engage on a Bulba as well. And this has just gotten very ugly. AUI is going to come in and do what he can. Ends up helping secure one kill, but he may end up dying himself. If the bear can catch him, don't even need it. Now Sumail has to win run. The silence is a little late to prevent that. Let's see. Nope, the bear's just going to be recalled. That's a 4-for-1 and a huge win for Vega. And that's the kind of situation I don't think if you're EG you can allow yourself to be in. Yes, the puck is an excellent initiator, but you have to be more in control of these fights. AUI was super late making it to the battle. He does have his blink dagger now, but I mean that is just huge. Like that basically has opened this game completely up.
It's just the initiation problem. We saw it there. AUI, he needed to be there. He needed to be the one initiating, we talked about, with his blink dagger, but didn't happen. They got gone on by no one. And everything just, followed suit there. So, and we didn't even see Bulba getting off the Doom. He was like, okay, well, I'm attacking a lone druid. I can't Doom the bear, guys. What do I do? And then, he just got rooted and just fell down there. So
speaking of the bear, it's going to glow now as the Radiance picked up by Vega. Sub 17-minute Radiance after Midas for Mag.
That's so scary.
Now, this is just really well played from Vega. They came in with a plan, and they have flat-out executed better than EG has.
They've out-greeded EG.
Yeah.
For sure.
Which is even more impressive given that EG drafted intentionally greedy to try to abuse the Lich pick.
Exactly. And one thing that I really wanted to talk about for like the last 2 minutes, but we haven't had the chance, is Sumail. He's gotten an armlet on Wind Ranger. I am like... It has nice armor. Obviously, it's very good against Vega's lineup for that purpose, but not for this.
Two-man coil, silence is there. Ricky goes into his ult, tricks of the trade indeed. Fear gets a little help showing up from the rest of his team, but they've already lost Sumail. Now they may even re-engage. And, yep, there's going to be the ult thrown to the high ground. Fear eating a ton of damage. That Deso came out at a pretty good timing for the Clinks as well. EG is just paper. They can't do anything. They end up getting the Ricky, but again, keep in mind, this is not a core Ricky. This is basic. Oh, no AUI coming in. Oh, the Yules coming in trying to sneak a free one. Instead ends up feeding himself. And now Peter's going to make it a full 5-man wipe. Vega with the unorthodox approach showing us what this patch is all about. Apparently they think it's about some Ricky. The Bounty Hunter's not the only hero you can use to disrupt jungle heroes. This is so well executed by them. And I coming back to what you said, FN has just done work, man. I mean, like on the Clinks, but as much as he's helped out, it may be a 1-3-7 Ricky, but the vision, the confidence that his constant presence on the map has allowed Vega to operate with is just so worth it.
And going on the other side of things, I think this is the no one plus the solo show. In all honesty, right now, their combos have been on point. I mean, what they're doing right now is so fun to watch because you can see how much synergy it does. You coil somebody, you silence them all, then you just put the smoke screen on top, and then you just ulti. This amount of damage in team fights is just absurd, and they have so much control with the double silence. It's unreal right now.
I'll tell you what I haven't felt, and it's rare that you say this, especially, I mean, Fear, as harried as he was, he's an excellent Enigma player, but I have felt zero impact from this Enigma. Like, he could have just as easily not been in the game, and I don't think a lot would have changed.
Well, they got at least a smoke break. No one? Are they going to catch him?
Smoke break.
Black hole? No one's going to get caught?
Yeah, let's see. Yep, I was going to say Yules is there, and now look at the burn damage from Mag. There's a coil that now goes out. Fear threw a black hole, hit a black hole, and is going to pay the price for it as the follow-up just wasn't there. All the heroes on Vega just feeling so much more tanky. Solo reinitiates on the Sumail, but little hesitancy on the side of Vega to fully commit their team to it. But yeah, I mean, like, the concept's there, and you know, you knew the Yules was there was the problem. Like, you had to be able to blow him up immediately.
They did catch out FN there on the backside. They got the dust coming out from Peter. He also got the Fiend's grip off. So killing the Clinks there is a very big deal now for EG.
Absolutely.
So at least it got that going for them. And going back to touch on Fear a little bit here, once he gets that BKB though, they're not going to have much to really stop him besides that Frost, the Chain Frost, and maybe the Clinks on the outside,
right.
With that burst damage, heavy amounts of burst damage. So we're going to have to see how that works out. Maybe Fear can get back into the game because, yeah, that Black Hole was just... I mean, it's kind of like one of those situations where he popped the Midnight Pulse and he cleared the trees for Sumail, and then he couldn't shackle. It's
that's such a good point. I didn't even think of that.
I was like, I feel for you, man. Sumail, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, man.
Well, Sumail does pick up a blink, so it might be a little more equipped now to try to hit these shackles. The problem is this Clinks is getting dangerously close to a BKB. I mean, he's almost level 16 even, so we're talking level 3. Oh, Jesus Christ, that level. I mean, look at the level difference alone. 15. Level 15 for this Lone Druid, 14 for the Puck, and 14 for Solo on the Clinks. The next closest is a full 3 levels behind. You know, we can look at the graphs all you want. Sometimes it's just more visceral to think of it that way, that Sumail, who was mid, is now 4 full levels behind the offlane Lone Druid.
Nah, it's fine. That just means that, Vega are dead for longer when EG killed him.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, yeah, they had just done a really nice job just overall in these team fights, going around the map, getting pickoffs. And they're still scouting out. PPD looks like he might be... Oh, it looks like Fear.
Yep. Fear is Dunsky's coil going to be spin on him happily. He's going to try to TP away. Yules is there to make that an impossibility, and Fear once again, at this point, just meching, trying to buy himself time. But he has had such a rough game. 1-4-2 for him.
Did he get to buy his over? No, his item progression is kind of key too. I talked
Sumail
about the
caught. That's a double damage Solo. And FN's right there with him. The silence to follow. Tricks of the trade to guarantee the kill. Bulba spotted, and Yules are going to get him too. Comes back down into the cloud. Can't even make it out of the dust. Company just pouring it on.
They're setting up bottom lane. Here you go. No one. Oh, man. AUI dead.
Yep, AUI.
Maybe
not. He's quick. That Rolling Stone, though. How about a Diffusal Blade? Gives him a toss, gives him a ride for free. But I don't even know what you do if you're EG. Like, your 5-man's inferior at this point. Your item progression is garbage compared to where Vega sits. And they have just taken advantage of you from almost the word go.
He just used 6 diffusal charges in like a minute or 2. I just want everyone to think about that. I'm not even exaggerating. Solo just picked off, he picked off the Wind Ranger, chasing him constantly with it. He just picked off AUI, chasing with it. I mean, this is just absurd. He's going to need like even more diffusals stacking on top of each other at this rate. But yeah, the item progression is just hurting right now for EG. They just don't have any answer, and trying to figure out if they can come back in a team fight with maybe a huge black hole in the Roche pit with the avalanche toss. Even Vega is just going to be so you can, with the puck. I don't see how EG can test Roche. What? They can go here?
Mag's a good catch. They can get it. The Bear's there. There's going to be a silence. Coil's going to be spin on Sumail. Here comes the rest of Vega in to fight. Sumail can't do much of anything. Peter's going to die to 3 shots. Tricks of the trade. Clears out the area. There's going to be the jaunt forward. Black hole.
5-man at least.
Thrown in desperation. And like you said, yeah, exactly. Good game indeed.
Yep.
So EG tap out in less than 25 minutes as they are just absolutely run over by the surprise pick in Ricky. And I do love what EG was trying to do there. I mean, it's very, I would just say it had a very Peter feel, that draft. It's like, okay, you do your thing, we'll do the same thing, and we'll be better. Like, that's a very EG approach to take, but the approach of the Ricky, because the Bounty Hunter was banned, and then the Clinks, who really, like, the Clinks could have accomplished the same thing later, in the mid stages of the game, just harrying. They didn't even need it. They just won the early game so hard, and the No One and FN show, man. I think I would just say all three of them. Hell, the whole. It's hard to look at this and say it's any one show. It's just one team dominated another.
Yeah, I mean, I was just very surprised at how much Solo was able to do with the Ricky early on, shutting down Enigma. He even and then obviously the rotations coming in from Shioma too. Top lane, AUI had like 17 CS at 8, 9, 10 minutes in the game, and then when that tempo controller is shut down so hard, it's kind of like on Bulba and Sumail to get off some really good initiations, some shackles. We didn't see that many good shackles this game. We didn't see a game-changing Doom. It was just
saw a 5-man black hole. Just no one else was alive to follow up.
No one was alive. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's you. This guy right here. All right, guys, that's it for us for tonight. I'm Ayesee, and that's Ryuu. We're going to be signing off, but don't worry, we've got more Dota on the way here from WePlay Season 3 in Kiev. Stick with us. We'll be right back.